Welcome back and thanks so much for staying with us. Now, there is tension in sections of the old capital following 3 shooting incidents this week. On Wednesday, a man was killed in the bus park. On Thursday, another man was shot and others injured. And on Friday, another man died from gunshot wounds. Investigations are underway. However, in one of the 2 shooting incidents which occurred along the Spanish Town bypass in the vicinity of De La Vega City, day apart, the people say the police should be investigated.
Sonny just come from work. Just come from work. And the next thing me know, me ear peer shot. And me ask everybody for Sonny. There was no Sonny.
Whatever business say. Whatever tell him say.
Police kill him.
The man residents are alleging became a victim of police killing has been identified as Tennyson Morgan, an electrician they affectionately called Sonny. The people are not only angry at the crime fighters over the death, but they are also complaining that some persons were verbally and physically abused.
I was walking over this, so me I walk go. And this big fat man though see me from anywhere and just come and draw me so. For what reason draw me, I tell him for come go in a van. Me I tell the man say me not going in a van, come I don't know where you attack, but you draw me in a van and I don't know which van you attack, but I'm go in a van. He might come tell me, come in a van. If you ever move, where, box in your face, where.
Here's how Pamela Sina alleged that her 27-year-old nephew, who had never been arrested, was shot and allegedly framed.
The police then just jump over the van and beat and cover the van. Then just start fire while be shot. Patient just start fire. So everybody have to take what they say for around. And then when the man he won't go to one lady house and then go take him out because it is so she when he ball out. And then take him out and kill him. And then don't know and then kill him no back of work. Then back up all along yes up. And then go in now and go in the van. And take out a gun now and go put in their hand. Where that for now? The boy is 27-year-old and he never has been arrested. He never has been arrested. So if he was a bad man, I would tell him 27-year-old, they will have him all year. Right? And then try him, make a dog up, never know what going with him.
Once a police a man see nobody a come, them a go run. Them don't know who the last man no run last night upon fridge him there.
Meanwhile, our news team sought a response from the police about these latest accusations. We have more on that from Irvin Forbes.
With all the concerns surrounding the shooting death of Tennyson Morgan, we wanted to know if anyone had tried to speak to the police.
The police, they're not giving us any chance to talk to them. When we go on, we are trying to talk to them. I'll be a bad word, they might tell him. And to so much one yard.
We caught up with Senior Superintendent Anthony Powell at the location.
Based on what happened, residents blocked the road way, and so what we did was to come. I tried to speak to the residents when I got here. They are giving a different version as to what took place, and so Indicom, as per usual, was contacted, and they are pretty much will be a part of the investigation. At the moment, we have cleared the road and traffic flowing both ways, and we expect it to remain that way. What I would remind residents about is that it's illegal to block the road, and we will not tolerate it.
We were, however, only able to speak with a senior officer in a second attempt.
Well, based on the reports coming to me, police team was in the area, and they reported that they came upon men armed with firearms, and there was a shooting incident, and two persons were shot, 2 male, and they were taken to the Spanish Town Hospital. And one firearm reportedly covered.
There's been a strong reaction of resolve from members of the police force and wider society to the murder of a Manchester policeman last weekend. The corporal was one of 2 cops slain by gunmen just days apart. A memorial was held in the parish on Thursday evening, where a number of commitments were made. This is how residents of Manchester and the Jamaica Constabulary Force continue to remember the late Corporal Melvin Smith, who was cut down in a hail of bullets by a lawless individual. How ironic it has been that a man who dedicated time and energy selflessly to building community spirit should go down the way he did, copying the guidelines on paper to which this former security minister referred while reflecting on the risk civilians so often overlook.
I think it says in the Constabulary Force Act, a policeman is always on duty by day or by night, whether they're on their lunch break or even on vacation. They have to respond.
This harsh reality evoked a passionate reaction from a member of the Police Federation.
Even in the midst of getting a minimal salary, even in the midst of working in a deplorable condition, he gave his best, not only to his colleagues, but to the citizens of Jamaica.
And as the memorial activities continued, it was evident the spirit of the crime fighter who served from the heart and was active as a mentor, pushing young people to achieve their full potential, would live on.
Northern Caribbean University is establishing a scholarship fund to ensure that Little Plum will have the education that her father wanted her to have.
I ask you to put your hands together for this wonderful idea. They have started the paradigm shift. I want the government of Jamaica to start that paradigm shift. If police killed in the line of duty tomorrow, their families must not suffer. And when I speak this passionately, it's because the Federation resources are being depleted, because we can't let our police who pay that ultimate price.
Meanwhile, Finance Minister and Member of Parliament Audley Shaw called on everyone to put their best foot forward.
The Prime Minister has declared different areas as special zones of operation. But all of Jamaica needs to be a special zone of operation. The good people of this country far outnumber the criminals and the wrongdoers of this country.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the government has taken note of the fears expressed by prospective investors in relation to the rise in criminal conduct. He was speaking at the opening of the G West Medical Centre in Montego Bay.
Citizens and visitors in Montego Bay now have another medical facility to choose from with the opening of the G West Medical Centre on Thursday. Prime Minister Andrew Holness took time to reassure the business community about the government's push to address crime in St. James.
I wanted to say to the business people who are here that I listen to the radio, I hear your cries, and I get all the messages that are sent through various channels about your concern regarding crime in your wonderful city. I take them seriously, and we are doing all that we can and more to ensure that we bring this situation under control very quickly.
The Prime Minister lauded the G West investment, adding that the private sector must drive growth in the economy.
The G West property represents another major investment in real estate development and in the provision of medical services in Montego Bay. We know that Montego Bay is one of the fastest growing cities in the Caribbean. Its development is therefore of critical importance to the government's growth strategy. We are positioning this western city as a major center for business.
Managing Director of the G West Group, Dr. Conrad Curlew, said the medical center was in the pipeline for nearly a decade.
This has been a long process. We purchased the property about 8 years ago, and to finally get to the point where we have begun to operate, we have half of the building fully in operation and another quarter of the building underway, is very gratifying.
I'm Brian Walker for CVM Live.
The Transport Operators Development Sustainable Services, TODS, has condemned the killing of a bus operator in Santa Cruz, St. Elizabeth on Thursday, reportedly over payments to load a bus. The group says the killing of a person for $500 continues to bring to national attention the need for government to do something about the unregulated backup and loadermen, who it says are creating mayhem across the island. TARS is asking whether they can be trained and deployed to do other work in the transport center. The group says it cannot continue to operate in an industry in this condition, with loadermen, backup men and extortionists of all type robbing them of over $35 million per day. As part of efforts to improve the delivery of justice, police officers are being sensitized about the Legal Aid Council's Duty Council system. The Duty Council system provides citizens with an attorney to navigate their period of detention. We have more from Brian Walker.
As the conversation about the poor state of police lockups and unlawful detention grows louder, Executive Director of the Legal Aid Council, Hugh Faulkner, says police officers are being sensitized on the Duty Council system.
We have had to be having seminars sensitizing the police officers that every citizen you take into custody is entitled to a lawyer. To call a lawyer that we provide to the stations is not an interference in the investigation of your case. It is a right that any citizen in any civilized society is entitled to.
Faulkner adds that Duty Council play a specific role during detention, and a police officer's first call should not be to engage a justice of the peace.
Where a person wishes to give a statement, or is to be questioned, or is to face identification parade, an attorney is an entitlement, and so their first call should not be to engage justices of the peace. Right? The justices of the peace, they have particular roles within the criminal justice system, from bail, lockup inspection, certification of surety. They can belay magistrates, they can check the remand book, etc. But for the legal duties, the citizen is entitled to an attorney.
I'm Brian Walker for CVM Live.
The National Works Agency has responded to social media warnings about Constant Spring Road in the vicinity of the marketplace. Persons have been sharing stories about motorists feeling the roadway moving beneath them and showing signs of collapse. Let's hear now from the Works Agency, and I'm joined on the phone by NWA Communications Manager Stephen Shaw. Good evening, Mr. Shaw.
Hi, good evening.
We wanted to hear from you directly, sir, about these allegations.
There is no truth to the statements that have been circulated and that are being circulating in the public space, that the bridge near Marketplace and the section of Constant Spring Road, that they are severely compromised. There is no truth to that, and I want to assure the motoring public and pedestrians alike that they can go about their business as normal as they have been accustomed to in many years. And the only issue that we have had is over a year ago when that a section of the sewer line along the southbound carriageway collapsed, and we had to close the road to facilitate the repairs. But there is no issue at all with the Sandy Gully Bridge near Marketplace and the road that is near to that particular area.
Sir, and you can say so with conviction because?
We have been there. Our technical team was there. I myself went and did the rounds and looked at it, and we saw nothing.
Let's switch to another major thoroughfare, along the Mandela Highway. What's going on there?
The Mandela, as you know, is under construction, and we have been making changes to the flow of traffic since the time when the work started. And so come tomorrow, we are going to be making yet another change. Persons who now come off the east-west toll road or traveling from the direction of Spanish Town, wishing to head east into Kingston, will travel on what had been the alignment before we made the change a few months ago, where we had shared the westbound carriageway between east and west travel. The westbound section of the carriageway they will remain, but those persons who will be heading east will go back to the original alignment, and this is to facilitate some of the work that we are now doing. We are just now putting down the median barrier along the Mandela, and so we need the space to continue the work, working from the direction of the Ferry Police Station towards the cattle crossing at Caymanas.
Okay, so earlier we were showing pictures of the bridge just to make it clear that that was from the previous collapse. Now, sir, I cannot make you go without asking, the water on the roads in the city after heavy rains yesterday and today, what can you tell us about that?
We do have some corridors in the corporate area where we have significant drainage issues. We are looking at doing much to several areas. The drainage system generally in the corporate area needs to be improved, and we are looking at doing same. We have done work within the channel of the Sandy Gully. We are going to be doing work along Conference Green Road. We are going to be doing work along Hagley Park Road. Maxfield Avenue 2 should be getting some attention, so to Spanish Stone Road. So we recognize that there are issues, and we also have been looking at planning issues, because where persons have been building big complexes, we are suggesting that rather than putting in paved parking lots, you use planter boxes. You allow much of the water to percolate rather than running overland into the undersized drains in some instances because of the developments that have taken place over many years.
If we were to have rain for all of next week, would we be going through this, or quickly will something be put in place to address even temporarily?
Well, Caroline, I would be playing God if I were able to tell you what will happen next week. But certainly, we have done drain cleaning activities. You may find situations where flash flooding occurs because some of the roads are just low lying, and so there is this that we can do right now, but to allow maybe for the rains to cease and time to elapse for the waters to recede. But where we can, we have been doing much work to try and mitigate the incidence of flooding along our carriageways. We have gone about building resilience in our network, and that is one of the reasons we have been replacing forts. And we have done so at Waterloo, we have done so at Cassia Park, we have done so at Greensboro, and we are looking to do so elsewhere in the city and around the island.
Okay, Mr. Shaw, thank you so much. More than just playing God, we were hoping for a time frame, but let's see how that pans out. Thank you so much for talking with us. Good evening.
Thank you.
This is CVM Live. We go to another break ahead of news from overseas. Do stay with us.